In this video, I will provide you with a 3-step trading plan so simple that anyone can follow it to transform their trading results. Just 3 concepts are all you need to focus on: time, market structure, and fair value gaps. Why? Well, I always see too many traders over-analyzing the charts using too many concepts and too many time frames, which then makes it difficult to execute a trade because you have so many different reasons for and against the trade, which then makes you hesitate. So the free trading plan for this strategy is linked in the description below. So follow along with that. Like this video. Let's get to 1,000 likes and I'll drop another backtesting video for this strategy. But in this video, I'll show you last week's trades, wins, losses, break-evens, and I'll talk you through the thought process from the higher time frames down to the entry and management of these trades. So crazy week, plenty of trades last week, all of these that we'll be going through, potentially even of this one to run for like 4 or 5 hours as well. So like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you do not miss out on future videos. So we're going to run through last week's price action here on TradeZella's backtesting feature. Stick around until the end and obviously we'll run through the data from this week, wins, losses, break-evens. I think you guys will be surprised at the management behind some of the trades, and I think it will answer a lot of questions I've been getting in the comments of previous videos. So stick around to the end for that. Okay, so make sure you have a copy of this downloaded, link in the description below. Step 1, obviously time-based liquidity, right? So this is what we're going to mark out first: previous week, previous day, previous sessions, market structure. Okay, all of these time-based liquidity levels makes it very, very easy to understand where price is drawing towards when you use these predetermined levels. Okay, there's no need to analyze the market and decide, okay, this is liquidity, this is not. So starting on the weekly time frame, we can see that we're trading above previous week high already, so that's kind of irrelevant at this moment. So we're just going to put on previous week low, as we can see down here. Jump over to the daily time frame. See we're well above previous day high because we gapped up over the weekend, but previous day low is essentially previous week low as well, so we won't bother putting that on just yet. And then obviously if we drop down to 15-minute time frame, this is then where we kind of go down to. You can see that we've got our previous session highs and lows in terms of Asia and then London session as well. But essentially, step 2, fair value gaps, is what we're going to be focusing on next. So 5 and 15-minute structure. Obviously here is the ideal scenario for short because we're in a downtrend, lower lows and lower highs, trade back into a fair value gap. And the moment we trade into this fair value gap, we move on to step 3. So this is obviously the entry model. The gray box is obviously this fair value gap, and we've just zoomed into this period of price action. And then obviously this is going to be our entry. Okay, so opposite fair value gap, 1 to 5 minute time frame, and you're going to enter on an inversion of it. So you've got the fair value gap that we trade back into, and then the moment we enter is when we inverse an opposing fair value gap. So this is a bearish gap because we're currently respecting bearish PD arrays because we're in a downtrend, and then this is obviously a bullish fair value gap that's created on the move into that gap, and then we're entering on the inversion of it. Obviously, this then comes to our entry checklist, and then this is what we're going to run through for each and every trade that we take. So back to obviously this period in time here, you can see that we're not in a downtrend like the example on the trade plan, we're in an uptrend. So we're just waiting for some gaps to form at this moment. You can see that we've formed a 5-minute here. So obviously, like I said, high highs, high lows. We're going to be just waiting for a gap to form in our direction. So we've got this bullish gap. Now we just need to wait for price to trade into it. So you probably drop down the lower time frames here so we don't miss anything. And here we go. We can see price trading back into this right now. No gaps, obvious gaps I see at the minute. Maybe a very small 2-minute in there, and then we close through. Do we close from? Okay, so 5-minute closes through this gap. Therefore, we're not respecting bullish fair value gaps at this moment, which we would expect to be in an uptrend. Okay, so we can get rid of that. We're obviously not looking to take trades out of it because that was inversed. So now we're just waiting for new gaps to form. Okay, we do create new highs, so that was still a higher low. Create a new high, and then we create a new fair value gap here. So now we're monitoring this fair value gap for potential entries. Drop down to the lower time frames. Do we pull into this right now? No gaps until we go down to this 1-minute time frame. We do have a fair value gap here. So this is what we're looking to be inversed right now, something like this, and then we'll be looking to take entries long. No inversion, and then we get an inversion right here. So this is what we're going to be looking at for entries right now. Stops below, and then obviously targeting on 1 to 2. The reason I'm targeting 1 to 2 here is because we're above previous day high, we're above previous week high, and then we're also above our current session day highs. So in this scenario, I'm just looking for a continuation of trend and just targeting a fixed 1 to 2. So let's see what happens here. We're just going to trade every trade with a 1 contract on NASDAQ. So let's buy, and then we're going to play this out. Okay, so very, very quick SL on that trade there. Okay, so you can see we didn't quite reach back into liquidity above, therefore no way to manage that trade. Let's jump up to the 5-minute time frame and again wait for some new fair value gaps to arise. So we did end up respecting this 5-minute gap and creating new highs, which is what we were expecting. But there wasn't another re-entry either. Okay, so there's no fair value gaps formed on that move down that took us out. So we couldn't have re-entered this position either. Okay, so we're almost coming into the end of session now. And there we go. So nothing else to do. I mean, maybe you'd get an no inversions there either, as you just see drop down the time frame. So move on to Tuesday. We were correct in terms of direction, but we're not always going to be correct in terms of our entries. As always, we obviously got the weekly time frame. We still got that from yesterday. Daily time frame, you can see we've got previous day high here. We are lingering around that area at the moment, so we're going to put that on, and then we've obviously got previous day low below. So let's see what happens here. 50-minute is obviously clearly bullish. We've got this 15-minute gap here that's currently been traded into on market open. So we'll see what happens around this level. We are aware that we do have a previous day high sweep at the moment. Okay, so no gaps here as far as I can see. We do have a really large 1 minute, so we'll wait to see whether we respect that or not. We do, we move lower. Okay, so we've inversed that 15 right now. We are still bullish on the 50-minute time frame, and we actually do have another gap lower here. So we're still respecting 15-minute bullish structure. You can see we've got a 2-minute gap in here, so maybe that's what we need now to obviously be inversed in order to take longs from this 15-minute gap. No close above here. You can see we closed above, so we can't target previous day high. Let's get rid of that. We're still respecting bullish structure, therefore I'm not too concerned about that previous day high at the moment. So right now what we're going to do is target high of day. Okay, so this is going to be our target here, not just a 1 to 2 because we do have liquidity above in terms of high of day, like I say. So we're going to place another trade here, trading out of the 15 with a 2-minute inversion. I take that back, a 1-minute inversion, as you can see here. And then we're going to try and target, obviously, these highs. So there we go, taking that internal liquidity. So we're going to move to break even at this point. Very, very nice reaction. And this is the thing, when you're jumping in with inversions, you typically enter with momentum. That's the whole point of this entry model. Get taken out very quickly for break even there, but that's fine. So onto the next trade. Let's have a look. Are we still respecting that 50-minute gap or not? We're not by the looks of it at the moment. Okay, we do have another move higher here. Let's go on to the 15. Okay, we're still holding this on the 50-minute time frame. As you can see, we haven't closed below on that 15 when we jump up. So we're currently around here. Do we have any gaps? Very, very small 2-minute. That potentially you look for inversion of. You do have a larger 1 minute there as well that you could use. So there we go, close above. Okay, so we're still trading out of this 15. We've just taken liquidity and we're still trying to target higher prices because we're respecting that bullish trend at the moment. We're going to have to target a 1 to 2, again, just above this high. 1 to 2 is typically the minimum that I'm going to target. One contract of NQ. There you go, taking internal liquidity, break even. Let's see if this one can play out. Okay, another break even. Okay, I'm slightly confused there, thinking that took us out for a slight loss, you can see here, but it didn't. So that's another break even. Let's see whether this 50-minute gap holds once again. So 2 break evens for this session. Obviously, this is the key to staying in the game through choppy market conditions. But we're still bullish because of the way that this 50-minute closed. We're still holding this 15-minute gap. We're still holding 15-minute structure. We're just chopping around a little bit here around open. So at this moment in time, taking 2 break evens, we stopped ourselves from getting stopped out on both of those trades. So, you know, if you don't move to break even, that's -2R. And at this point here, we are still trading out the 15, like I said, and we have this 2-minute here. Now, obviously, we haven't sweat liquidity at this point. So what we do in a situation like this is you're going to look at ES as well. And you can see at this point in time here, ES swept lows, whereas NQ didn't. So this here is SMT at lows, and therefore that validates this inversion fair value gap for me if we inverse. Okay, so now you can see we've inversed, targeting again a 1 to 2. This is obviously going to be well above highs at this point, but we're just looking for a continuation of trend. So place another order of 1 contract on NASDAQ. And we're going to try and play this out into highs again. So there you can see we've taken that internal high. Just like every other trade, we're going to move to break even. And then we're going to see whether this can run into new highs. Still chopping around. There you go. You get 1 move higher there. Still very messy market conditions at the moment. But you can see the power of just trading with 50-minute trend in the path of least resistance, trading from that 50-minute gap. And then obviously the power of moving to break even, 2 break evens, and then a 2R winner there. So very, very good session there. On to the next day. Just quickly before we continue with this back test, I get this question all the time. What prop firms do I recommend? My number 1 tip to you guys is stop going for the cheaper firms offering these crazy discounts. Number 2 in the space right now is Funded Next. They are growing like crazy. CFDs, obviously, they've now just got into futures, which I know a ton of you guys trade, and their futures offering is the best in the space that I've seen. So yeah, I would typically recommend sticking to the bigger firms. Funded Next have also paid out over 100 million to traders. So you know they have the liquidity to actually pay you guys out. So once again, let's jump down to, or jump up to the weekly. You can see we've still got weekly lows on. Previous day low now comes up to here, and then previous day high comes into here. So this is what we're looking at the moment going into the session. Jump down to our session. We've got obviously Asia highs above, London highs above. So they are obviously areas of liquidity we can look towards. Previous day high has been taken, so we're going to remove that. And now we're going to look at what price does at 9:30 open. Once again, just trading with 5 and 15-minute market structure. So here we can see fair value gap created here, down the lower time frames. The only thing we do have is a 1 minute here. So that's a potential continuation lower, right? So like I said, we do have liquidity above, but if we're going to just keep respecting current 5 and 15-minute trend, then we're going to look for shorts in this instance, right? So that would be our potential trade out of the 15. Okay, not quite inverse that just yet, but obviously this is still the only option we have. You can see there's no 3 minute, no 2 minute. So 1 minute is the only option. And there we get a close below. So stops obviously same place as usual. And there we go. We zoom out. What do we have below? We've got this previous day low. So that's going to be our target. We don't have session lows below. We've got previous day low next. So in this instance, you can target, a 1 to 2, or just target a 1 to 2.5 here into previous day low, because that's my drawn liquidity at this point in time. This is how we run with it. So once again, targets on, entry in, and then we're going to see how this one plays out. Now we close below the lows. We keep running. No RTCs again, because we haven't traded back into any 5-minute gaps. But this point here, nope. So still trading lower, still expecting previous day low to be hit, because that's our drawn liquidity. And there you go, previous day low achieved. So another good trade. What was this one? That was a 5-minute gap. Once again, trading with 5-minute structure. So 5-minute fair value gap plus obviously then a 1-minute inversion. So very good trade. On to the next day, previous day low achieved. So once again, daily time frame, what have we got? Previous day low is where we're basically trading at the moment. And then we do have a previous day high, well above price. We got to understand that we are trading inside of a weekly gap here at the moment as well. So the potential of moving lower is still there. And it looks like could be, no, we haven't just yet. So this is fine. Let's have a look at what price is doing at open here. So once again, just like yesterday, session liquidity is above, and we've taken the previous day low in this situation. So yesterday we took previous day high and session liquidity was above, which is obviously the opposite. Today we've taken previous day low and session liquidity is above. So Asia high here is a potential target if we can trade reversals from these lows. So let's see what happens. Obviously, if not, then we're going to continue looking for shorts, and we've got previous day low, previous week low, well below current price. Okay, interesting move at 9:30 open, strong move lower. That's fine. We do have a 5 and 15, no, just a 5-minute gap there that gets inversed. So nothing to do. Keep trading higher. Okay, now we've got this 5-minute gap. So like I said, sweep previous day low, session highs above. That is our buy side liquidity target. And then we do have this 5-minute fair value gap. So what we're going to be looking for out of this 5-minute gap now is obviously an inversion on the lower time frames. And at the moment, it looks like we've got that 3-minute just here. So that's going to be a potential entry. and then targeting that session liquidity above. So something like this. Okay, and there we go. So close above on the 3 minute. This is going to be our trade. And targeting obviously these highs, or obviously just a 1 to 2 if you want to push it at that minimum level. And there you go, another 1 to 2 trade just then. So 5 minute gap held. The inversion obviously didn't quite hold that well at the start. Obviously depends on your management around that, but we didn't take out liquidity as we've been doing obviously for this session so far. So a 1 to 2 on that move there. 5 minutes shifted higher, obviously above this high here. Trade back into this fair value gap, and then continuations out of it into obviously this buy side, and then we just targeted a 1 to 2. Now, the better entry for this session would have definitely have been an RTR model down at the bottom. Okay, so this is a model that we also trade within our group, took a trade yesterday actually. And obviously this would have been the better of entry down here in the market earlier, whereas here we caught that kind of continuation after the shift above this 5 minute, which is fine, but obviously it reduced the amount of risk reward we had into this level here. But obviously this could just be a scale in after taking the initial reversal. But onto the following day. Okay, so here we are at market open on Friday. You can see we've got this hourly fair value gap here that's holding, but that hourly fair value gap is also the 15-minute range as well. So price is obviously holding this 15-minute gap. And then, we can obviously look for shorts out of this area at the moment. Okay, so what we've got then going into open, if we look at this, is we've got these two fair value gaps here. If we take an inversion on the first one, how do we know the second one won't be respected? Okay, that's the way that I look at when we've got two gaps like this. So at the moment, we're going to be waiting for an inversion of these two fair value gaps out of the 1 hour, out of the 15. Okay, and obviously if we go over to our checklist again, we haven't really gone through this much, but it literally looks like this, right? Lower high to lower low to lower high to lower low into a gap, and then we're looking for this. Obviously, this gap is obviously, a lot smaller than what we've got here today, but, lower lows, lower highs, lower low, back into the gap, and then we go down to lower timeframes at the time of trading, and we've got this, obviously, inversion or potential inversion fair value gap. So wait for an inversion of that. You can see that we have it just here. And then slightly discretionary, this because obviously the lows have been taken. So that is something to consider on this one. But this would be the overall play of how we play something like this. Sell, obviously one here. And then targeting lower prices, the gaps, they do hold. So you can get to break even. And then we keep running lower. So there we go. Trade straight into these lows, so previous week low. So solid trade there to obviously end the week. So here we can see the stats for that strategy. Obviously 80% trade win rate. Obviously we do have some break evens in there as well. So you had 4 winners, 2 break evens, and 1 loser. That last trade there, you could use that as a break even if you wanted to as well, depending on how you want to manage at the low. Obviously, net P&L 11.9k. That's not really anything to take into consideration. Our risk wasn't the same on every trade. We just, went a very basic 1 contract per trade. So don't take that into consideration too much. It's more just how this model can play out throughout the week and how we trade into and away from certain levels. Very good week of price action that week. Not every single week is going to be like that, but this is an example of if you do execute very consistently throughout the week, these are the type of results you can potentially get. 80% win rate is very much there. Hopefully this video was helpful, and I shall see you on the next one. Get to 1,000 likes, and if you want to take your trading to the next level, then join us in the mentorship below, where we trade live every single day, London session and New York session.